Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a review of the xtrfy mz1 wireless. That is right, Rocket Jump Ninja's mouse. The xtrfy mz1 has finally been updated in wireless form. There are a few improvements. There's a new shape that's available. They have like swappable back shells. But most importantly, the mouse was designed by Rocket Jump Ninja, and with that in mind, I'm going to get right into the review. So like I said, there are some improvements. The biggest one that I can notice is just the quality of the shell. No joke, listen to the original xtrfy mz1 I have. That is like glorious Model O territory of creaking and side flexing, and it was just horrible. So I'm sure that Rocket Jump Ninja himself oversaw the production, and he was like, guys, listen, that is unacceptable. We need to have a solid shell, and now I really have nothing negative to report. This thing feels really solid, and that is a massive improvement that I'm happy about. Other aspects of build quality, like rattling, there's really nothing. And even with the swappable back shell, once you screw it in, it really feels solid, and there's no creaking at like the points of contact. So xtrfy does seem like they've nailed the build quality, at least on this copy. I'm not gonna lie, for $120, this is the type of build quality that you would expect, but I just noticed a drastic improvement from the original MC1, so I definitely wanted to make note of that. But I guess the thing I want to talk about now is the new lowered back. This is really interesting, and it's definitely not for me. If you play claw grip, this is gonna feel like gripping a mouse that just does not have a back shell. Like if you've used a G305 without the back piece, a Ponage mouse without the back piece, it's really gonna feel like that. So definitely not something that I recommend for claw grip unless you literally want to feel no hump and just want like a sharp, low shape in the back of your palm. But claw gripping with the original back hump, I really had no problems. Rocket Jump Ninja designed the mouse so you know where to put your fingers. Then you just put your index and middle finger on the button grooves, then you just put your thumb near the side buttons. Then that's how you get a good grip of the mouse, and this feels really locked in. It feels especially good for like snapping and flicking. I would not say this is a mouse that I am tracking especially well with, because it's just a very narrow shape. I feel like if it was any smaller, it would be too small for me. And for fingertip, I watched RJN's video. Apparently it is to like accommodate for people who grip lower on the shell. And I mean, I guess if it helps you, it helps you. But for me, I don't really notice too much of a difference. You get a bit of support if you do a relaxed fingertip from the original hump, and I just feel like that is a bit better for me personally. But there's nothing wrong with having options for shapes. I'm sure that some people will prefer the lowered back for fingertip grip, but for me, I don't really notice a difference, and I strongly prefer the original hump for claw grip, so I won't make use of it. But I'm happy that xtrfy implemented it without any massive build quality issues. But I guess moving on from this, I'm going to talk about weight. This weighs in at around 62 grams. And that is only a 1 or 2 gram increase from the wired version, so it's not bad in that regard. But this mouse does have a somewhat dense feeling to it for such a small mouse. xtrfy does have the adjustable weight balancing system where you can move around the battery, but you really can't feel these differences. And I think that what you mainly can feel is the fact that there is a like significant amount of weight towards the middle of the mouse when you're moving it around. It feels like just to get the mouse moving, it takes a bit more pressure on the MZ1 wireless than it did the original MZ1. That's just a minor nitpick. It's not really a problem. I don't have any problems with the weight. I just think that this mouse, for its size range, is not anything impressive in terms of weight. Something like the Pulsar X2 Mini is $95. It comes with a better sensor. It's 53 grams. It has an overall safer shape versus the MZ1 wireless, which is going to be $120. It has holes. It's a heavier mouse, so it's just it's not really a great value by any stretch of the imagination. I can really only recommend it to people who are already familiar with the shape and just want a well-built wireless version. One thing I also did not mention yet is the clicks, and these are really good. This might be the best implementation of Kill 8.0s I've felt so far. I'm not sure if these switches are binned to be lighter than the standard Kill 8.0. But just a great click feeling. No matter where you press the click from, it feels like an even amount of force, not too much variation. No issues with pre or post travel, just an overall really good click experience. And you can go as low as 2 millisecond debounce time. You do have to change the settings on the mouse. It's not really too big of a deal. The side buttons are not great. They are really small. I don't recommend this mouse to people who play Fortnite. It's just not easy to hit both of them while still getting a good grip of the mouse and aiming. But for any other game, I think you'll be perfectly fine with the side buttons. They are a bit stiff feeling. They're definitely not something you'd activate by accident. The placement is not great for claw grip with my hand size, but for fingertip, it is basically where I place my thumb. So the side buttons are decent, but nothing great and just really small in my opinion. The coating of this mouse is the same as it was before, and especially with the white colorway, it definitely does get slippery, especially in summertime. It's just very humid. And I'm not going to lie, the coating is pretty slippery. I know they do sell lizard skin specifically for the MZ1 on their website, so I kind of regret not getting those. But yeah, this is something where you might want to add grip tape to it. The wireless implementation on the MZ1 wireless is good. xtrfy has done 3 wireless mice now, the same specs on all of them. This is just a 3370 sensor, which I'm not going to lie, for the $120 price point, you would want to see a 3395, considering the fact that they are available now, but maybe xtrfy will make an MZ1 Wireless Pro without RGB, with a better sensor, no holes. But again, there's really nothing wrong with the sensor's implementation. It does not feel quite as good as the Viper V2 Pro does with the hyper polling wireless dongle, but it is, I'll admit, a very minor difference in the grand scheme of your actual skill. I feel like unless you've already used the MZ1 and know that it is your endgame mouse shape, that it's kind of hard to recommend buying this mouse. Definitely, if it's your first time using the shape, you got to keep in mind that it is very polarizing, very different to any other shape on the market. Feels very stretched out despite the fact that it's a small mouse. And there are the 2 humps now. So I guess that will accommodate more grip styles. What else have I not talked about? I guess the battery life. This thing lasts despite all of the RGB. Actually, they did remove the rails, which was what made it Zeiss rail. They removed those from the top. So with the reduced RGB, it lasts around a week on a full charge, which I think is pretty good, honestly. The mouse starts to flash red when it gets low. So the charging has not been high maintenance at all, really. Like I said, the wireless performance is good. The stock feet are the same as before, and they're good for the most part. On some textured pads, I think they are a bit too controlled, but if you want to replace them, there are plenty of aftermarket skates available. And yeah, at the end of the day, I'm happy with the build quality improvements. I'm happy that I got to support my favorite person in Australia, Rocket Jump Ninja, by purchasing this mouse. And yeah, the review wasn't very exciting because this is just the same thing as the MZ1, but wireless, with a new shape that I did not like. But speaking of likes, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That's going to be all. Peace.